Hey y'all, hope you're having a good day. I wanted to make a little bit of a different video today. This is more so just like an open up the floor discussion type video, more so than it is like an advice video. I may have a couple tips in here, but I'm interested to see like how everybody's life is going financially. I know that that's very personal for some people, and if you don't want to talk about it, I completely understand, but I'm a very open person. I like to put stuff on the table and kind of lay it out there and see what other people think about it. So my good friend and I were talking about it last night, and she made a comment that she doesn't know anybody in their 30s, and this applies, I'm sure, to a lot of age ranges right now, but she doesn't know anybody in their 30s that's doing well right now financially. And to think about it, I really don't either. I know, like, she knows and I know people that are, like, either living with their parents, they have several roommates, they work extremely full-time, if not overnight jobs, to be able to keep their place, and it's really depressing, and it's hard. I know there's so many families that are struggling right now. I know that couples that work 2 full-time jobs are having a hard time even making it. You know, we're talking about people that have children or people that don't have children, even single people that work full-time around the clock. It's like they can't even pay their bills without like a leg up or some help. The issue is so many people don't have family or friends to financially help them. Yes, emotional support is very important. We talk about it a lot on my channel. I am so pro anything emotional, and I will warn you very quickly, you want to be careful if you are helping somebody financially. My personal thing with that, and I've never really been able to truly help somebody. Like the other day, I had a spare $5. I think it was from some birthday money or something, Christmas money, and I gave it to somebody that was blind, that needed some money, and I was happy to do that, and for me that was a very generous gift because I don't usually have a spare $5. But what I'm saying is if I did have a lot of money to give to somebody or a friend in need, it would be no strings attached. It would be, I know you're having a hard time, take this money. Because it will come back around, guys. It's karma. It will come back around. You don't want to, I want to warn people very strongly against giving loans to friends or family. It can affect your relationship. The person may be really struggling and have all these bills and debt, and that money may help them, but they may not be able to pay you back for a very extended period of time, and it could be more pressure and actually make the situation worse. So you want to be very careful when you're doing situations like that. But I don't know, y'all. Like, it's so tough right now. I remember when I was 21 years old, I'm going to tell y'all a little quick story right now. This is a completely true story. I had gone through school to become a CNA. I'm not a CNA, but I had completed it. I scored very highly. I still had to do like the state certification. And so I went to school as a CNA, and I worked full-time as a nanny. And I had a really good job. I worked for a great family. God bless them. And one day when I was 21 years old, my mom and I did not have a good relationship. We fought a lot. I mean, it was an ongoing, completely awful thing from childhood until, you know, that's a whole nother video. But, so when I was 21, I came home to find that my mom had changed all the locks on the entire house and put my entire life onto the garage floor. It was at night. It was cold. I didn't know what to do. I was terrified. I don't have a big family. I did not have any extended family, or much less close family, living in Charleston. So I didn't save up for it because I didn't know it was going to happen. And I never in a million years thought I would just be thrown out like a piece of garbage and have my stuff gone through, disrespected. It wasn't even all there. It was the worst situation I've ever experienced in my life. But, so I'm telling you this because I know what it's like to have a full-time job and to have to figure it out. So, I mean, what I thankfully did, I had a very close friend, and she lived in a very small room, and she split a room with me. She ended up buying me a bed off Craigslist. She took me in. I don't remember much about that time during my life because it was so traumatic, and we struggled so hard. She worked full-time, I worked full-time. I remember I think we would get like frozen meals. Like we'd go to the Dollar Tree. I remember one of our things was getting frozen, I think they were like sweet potato fries, and we'd like cook those. That was like a treat for us. And We couldn't have rented our own place with 2 full-time incomes if we wanted to. There was just no way. And I think it's personally, and I'm going to give y'all my opinion, and again, I want to open the floor, get y'all talking, see what y'all think about this. And again, I have a very strong opinion about this, so I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I've lived both sides of it. Right now, y'all can see all this. Y'all must think that I'm like spoiled and entitled. I'm extremely blessed to be able to have my own refrigerator out there, to have food in the refrigerator, to be able to walk from the kitchen to the bedroom in my pajamas and not have like 2 or 3 other, like, y'all, I take this for granted. I really do. I take this for granted sometimes. But I think about those memories in the past and I'm just like, you know, I have a lot right now. I have a lot. But so for me personally, I think that it is outrageous. How often do y'all hear me use the word outrageous? That, you know how I feel about this when I say outrageous. That in the United States, the minimum wage, at least in South Carolina, I believe it's $7.50. It's definitely in the $7. If you work full-time with that, you can't pay your rent, you know? You may be able to buy a little food, a little gas to get to work, but you can't pay your bills. Most places, especially apartments, and this is the awful thing about it. To buy a house, some of y'all may not know this, the house payment is actually cheaper than renting. I don't know why that is, but it just is. Mortgages are usually cheaper. To get a mortgage, you usually have to have good credit, a good job, be able to qualify. How many people can qualify these days for things like that? I never have, and I believe I never will, because of the careers that I worked in. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, and they can't ever look at my income and go, oh yeah, she would qualify for a house. We can give her that affordable rate. So instead, people that are struggling are limited to a blown up amount for an apartment. And that's usually $900 to $1,300 to $1,400 in Charleston. I don't know about where you are. Its prices different everywhere. I would say in the the middle of the United States might be cheaper because it's not near like the mountains or the ocean. Maybe like a country town, but I do live in a city. We are like a touristy type town. It is so, you cannot make it on minimum wage. Like, I don't even know if you could afford you a bus pass back and forth to work if you lived in a homeless shelter. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You know, and I have people's stories I could actually like throw out here as representation. I'm not going to do that because that's other people's own personal journeys and I don't have permission to do that. So I'm not going to do that as an add into this video. But I can tell you that I've seen it and I feel like I have a good idea and I know. It drives me crazy that people, whether you are working fast food, and I have no issue with fast food. I'm not downgrading you if you work in fast food industry. Y'all, customer service is like the most stressful thing. I couldn't work at fast food. I don't even know if I could work fast food if my life depended on it. It's so stressful. Everything from the library to animal care, CNAs, you're looking at under $11 in Charleston. I know that because I've worked lots of those types of jobs. When I looked into CNA type jobs, hospitals, yes, they may be a little bit higher if you can get hired at one, but just to go through like a CNA type agency place, depending on where it is, but you're looking at like $9 to $10 an hour. That's personal care, y'all. Do y'all understand what personal care is? I mean, I'm not talking giving somebody medicine. I'm talking you might need to be changing their briefs. Like, it's like, what is wrong with America? Like, I don't understand how hardworking, some of the most hardworking people I've known in my life have worked lower class to middle class jobs. I hate to rate the jobs like that. It's not my idea, but I know the way that society thinks. They're thinking like upper class type jobs, you know, like I said, doctor, lawyer, sometimes police officer. And it's not that I don't think those people should get paid a lot, but here's my view on it. I feel like people in those type of jobs should get paid well. I feel like people that work hard and lower to middle class jobs, like I hate saying that, but y'all know what I'm talking about, should get paid enough to be able to make it. It is not fair. Like, we have one life, y'all. We have so much time in one life, and if we work ourselves into the ground, even if 24 hours around the clock we work ourselves into the ground, number one, we can't continuously do that for psychological and, physical reasons, but we work 12-hour shifts, so we work a good 12-hour shift, and you cannot support yourself from that 12-hour shift. You've given your life. You've sacrificed time with your significant other, with your children, with your friends to be doing that. You've given up traveling. You've given up personal care. Like, if you're sick, I know people push themselves to go to work because they can't afford not to. And I feel like people that work jobs like that should at least be able to support themselves. At least be able to rest at night and close their eyes and know that they don't owe a ton of money. But it's not what's happening. It's not what's happening in America. Yes, jobs, like I said, like I used to be married to a police officer, so I'm very clear on what they make, and in a lot of ways, for my ex-husband, that was a really cush job. And by cush job, I mean dangerous job, respected job. It's not a job I would ever want to do, but he had health insurance. He had like dental insurance. He had a 401k. He had, he made a pretty good bit. He earned money even going through school. They paid him to go through school to become a police officer. That isn't everywhere. That's just where he went to school. So, if y'all have police officer husbands that didn't happen for, like, I'm just letting you know, we had to actually look for a school that would pay him. But, so, he had a good shot at it, and when he got out of school, he had a pretty good little lump sum of money, and he was always able to, like, support us, whether I was working or not working. And I just want to know, why aren't benefits like that offered to people working other jobs? Why aren't, what he made, salary-wise, why can't we make more? I've worked in the animal care field, for years. For almost 5 years, but I've been pet sitting for even more years, so I would say I have like 15 years of pet sitting, animal care, veterinary experience. I go into a job interview, and with a great resume, with great references, with all my vets listed, and at least in Charleston, my experience has been $7.50 to $8 an hour with experience, and I will not take a job like that. I'm sorry. It's not a pride thing. I am 30 years old, and I have worked my entire life, scraped by, had nothing, and I couldn't make it off that when I was a teenager, and so today they still want to pay me that, and I'm just like, I will come back and I'll be like, but I had this experience and I had these references, and I know, but that's just what we pay. It's infuriating and it's frustrating, and I have friends that, like, they can't make it, and if I were single today, my options would be a shelter, potentially if my granddad could take me in, maybe my aunt, I don't know, but that would be it. And I don't have a big family. I don't have financial support from this big family. I don't have that. I don't have help. I don't have help to go to school. I did when I was younger, and I appreciated that from my granddad. I was very blessed to have what I had. But he tried to put money into me going to school during an awful time in my life, and I think it was our belief that if I went to school, I could get into this great career and get out of my situation. The issue is when you're going through a bunch of emotional distress, you're terrified, and you're trying to work and go to school, there's too much on your plate, and it doesn't happen, and my plate literally kept breaking. So there's that, and it was the wrong time to try to do it. I'm not against school, but let me talk about school for a minute too, and again, I want to open the floor. Y'all tell me what you think about minimum wage, about, if you want to share, you don't have to say, like, what you're making at your job, but just, like, how you feel about what you're making. Again, don't put it out there if you feel like it would affect your job, or people are going to see it, and you feel like you're going to be judged by it. Only do it if you're open to it, and you feel compelled to do it. I never want y'all to put too much information out online, but I want to know who else is, like, with me on this, and who else is, like, really frustrated by this. what was I going to say? School. Okay, so I wasn't, but a lot of kids are brought up to, you tell your kids, you know, be whatever, I've heard, be whatever you want to be. Dream really big, be whatever you want to be, you know, go into what you're passionate about. So you get all excited, you go through high school. If you're lucky these days, you get some kind of mentor in high school. My high school did not have that, and God help you if you could get into the guidance office in between like lunch and another class without it being full. But anyway, I did not have any advice about what to do. I don't even know how I came up with the careers I came up with to try. But anyway, so you go through high school and you look at a college book and or a website or something, and you look through all these careers and you go, wow, there's so much to choose from. It's like a smorgasbord of like some cool sounding, some awful sounding majors. And then, you know, you choose a couple. You don't think about how much this is actually going to cost you, right? So very easily, you fill out a FAFSA, and if you don't qualify for free student aid, which a lot of kids don't, and I want to put this out there really quick because this is true, if your parents make too much money, depending on your age, and you know, that's a whole nother thing, but sometimes they look at how much your parents make. Regardless, if you have parents that make a lot of money that don't help you, that don't have you even in their life, you may not qualify for free financial aid. And that's awful because the government's assuming your family is actually helping you, and oftentimes they're not. They can be abusing you for all the government cares. If they make a lot of money, sorry, you're not getting any free college money. That's awful. You know, I have personally, when I was in college, I had to declare, I think it was independency or something. It was after my mom threw me out, and I had to literally, like, it is so hard and it is so embarrassing to have to go into a college, be younger, this is a long time ago, and tell them, you know, you need aid and you do not have your mom or your dad to back you up, and these are the reasons, because they're not. And I remember the person like asking me several questions. They're like, well, do you still receive gifts from your mom? Like, and I'm just like, no, I received nothing. I was thrown out. Gifts, like, excuse me? Oh Lord. So so there's that with the free financial aid money. I want to also inspire you to really think about college, and to make sure if you want to go back or you want to take a major, you look at those prices. Make sure you're in state, because I know this video is kind of going all over the place, but make sure you are in state, because if you're not in state, tuition usually doubles, and it takes about a year to be in state. You have to have a driver's license, and I believe like 1 or 2 bills for a year period. So that's another thing, guys. As soon as you switch to another state, get that driver's license. I don't know what other IDs you can do in place of the driver's license. If you don't have one, you need to look into that. But you need to switch everything over. Your bank account. You don't wait on these things. Because you could live in the state for like, say you went from South Carolina to like Florida. Or say I did. I could live in Florida for 6 months, not switch anything over, and they have no idea I've been there for a year. I could go to a college and be like, I swear I've been here for 6 months. They're like, okay, prove it. You have to show your driver's license, excuse me, and some bills and stuff like that. So, and make sure you change your address at the P.O. box, at the post office. So it doesn't matter if you have a P.O. box. You just go there, you request an address change envelope, put that in, and they'll send you something in the mail to your new address. Hold on to it. Hold on to your new driver's license, obviously. And so when you apply for college, you know, you have like proof of all this stuff. But yes, going back to college, if you cannot apply for the FAFSA, you get the option to take out a loan, honestly. And you know how credit cards, a lot of times they base it on how much you make if you're qualified for a credit card? I can tell you that was dirt poor. And I had cans of soup in my car. That's how poor I was. And I qualified for a tremendous loan at college. All I had to do was like type in my initials. And so student loans somehow are different. They don't go off of how much you make. They kind of go off of your need, and they give you a certain amount of money if you want it. And it's like taking candy out of a jar, you know, when you got cravings. It's like you want to just, it's all free. Okay, I'm going to reach in and grab all of it. They didn't really give me any advice about what I was doing. So basically, I did get into some student loan debt, but by the time I got into, you know, I think it was like $10,000, $12,000 worth of debt going to school because I didn't have any money. I realized how much trouble I was in. I realized that education for me wasn't worth it. I could not, so I did accomplish my associate's degree. I got my associate's of science in social sciences. I don't know why the bleep I chose that. It is a piece of paper in a frame, y'all. I was so determined that I had to survive and I had to overcome my situation. I went to college while I was living with my close friend who took me in. So basically I was like almost homeless and going to school and working. I don't know how I did it. I remember one time our plumbing completely stopped working, my friend and mine. So our bathtub didn't work, you know, our toilet didn't flush. I think that's what the situation was. And I had to go to the person that I was working for, and she kind of realized the situation. I didn't go into it a lot, but she let me take showers at her house. That was really a low point in my life. It really was. But looking back now, I'm so thankful for kind people that don't ask a lot of questions when in situations like that and are respectful of you and reach out to you when you're in need. So, yeah, there was that. But anyway, college, in my opinion, and I know, again, opening the floor for opinions, post it below. This is getting kind of long. It's like 21 minutes. I'll have to replay this, see if I even want to post all this. But in a lot of ways, for a lot of careers, feels like a scam. I don't know how else to say that. So it is an entryway if you want to go for some really big careers. It is the only entryway. So I'm not ruling it out for all careers. But I'm saying for certain things, like for instance, I need to do a whole educational video. This is what this is turning out to be. But for instance, associate degrees, transferable degrees, 2 pieces of advice, y'all. I was like, oh, this ain't gonna be an advice video. I'm just like blurting out advice to y'all. But get your associate degree at a community college. Do not look at a 4-year college, a nice looking 4-year. The lawn is completely mowed, you know, the brochures are right up front, it looks fancy. If you are financially struggling and you know, oh, I could go to this nice little 4-year college and get a loan to go there, y'all crazy if you're financially struggling, okay? Like, I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to tell you from experience, please listen to me. Don't do something like that and devastate yourself financially for the next 12, 15, 30 years, okay? Go to a community college. They're like half the price, if not 75% cheaper than a 4-year college. And if you're going for a transferable degree, get your 2-year degree there. There's all your basic courses like your math, your English, your science, your computer, your history, all of that. Once you have all those courses together, then transfer over to that 4-year college. You have 2 years left. You still get to go to the college. You've saved a buttload of money. With that being said, if you do not have a lot of money and you want to go for a transferable 2-year degree, you're not going to be able to do much with it if you cannot transfer to a 4-year college. So for instance, if you want to be like a teacher, I believe this is a good one to say. If you want to be a teacher, then get your associate, I believe it's associate arts at a community college. Transfer that to a 4-year college. Get your bachelor's of teaching. Boom. They're going to probably help you get into a nice school. You're going to have ability to teach, do some student teaching in a school. That's great. If you feel like you just need to go to college, this isn't the way to do it, y'all. Like, this is what I did. Go to a 2-year college and do all your basics and get that diploma, and then you realize the prices of a 4-year college. Then you realize, well, I don't really know what I want to go into, and I can't afford to go into it if I wanted to go into it. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it, unfortunately. I wish I had not gone to college. I wish I had saved a tremendous amount of money and maybe put that money into other things, other training, other lessons. I wish I had done more entrepreneurships. I wish I had worked and done some volunteering. Did some volunteering in different careers when I was younger. If I could go back and tell myself all the different things to do, that would be it. But schools are like causing people to go into major financial debt, financial crisis. Loan debt from schools cannot be forgiven. I don't think there is any way for them to be forgiven unless you have an extreme amount of debt. And there's something with like Obama stuff, like I don't even know, some kind of loan forgiveness. I didn't even remotely qualify for it. I don't even remember what it was, but basically, when you got student loans, I was 21 when I was thrown out. I'm 30 today. I have $6,000 left on that piece of paper that's in the frame that's lying on my floor right now. Do y'all see where I am? Do y'all see me in college? Do y'all see me in a 4-year career or with a 4-year degree? I could never get it. I could never financially do it. Even working full. So another thing too. So we don't make enough, right? When we work for a place like a veterinary office or childcare field. There are so many fields that don't get paid enough, y'all. I don't even know how to tell you guys. Even like responders, like 911 responders, they don't even make that much money, y'all. Like it's crazy. The people that do the telephones, I'm sorry, I don't know what that's called, but so we work a full-time job. We sacrifice a lot. We don't make a lot of money. We don't have enough time because usually our job takes control of our schedule, and we don't have any ability to go on vacation, to have personal time. And then we want to add school on top of that, right? Because we want to somehow get out of our situation. How many people's managers are going to work around a school schedule? I'm hearing crickets. Yeah, crickets. Maybe a couples would be amazing and do that. I know basically the managers that I've had in my life, and I have had several managers, you're screwed if you have a school schedule. Number one, you either get fired, maybe not for that reason, but they'll find no reason to fire you. One time, I used to work for Express and sell clothing. All my hours got cut because I could not sell those credit cards. I could not put people in debt. I tried to push the credit cards, but I didn't want to. I didn't feel morally good about it. Because of that, it came across that way. And I was basically fired. I had no hours on the books after a while there. So there's that. I don't understand how we're supposed to make it. I don't understand how we're supposed to do this. And I would love some advice. If y'all want to tell me that I am wrong or that you disagree or that you agree, or tell me about your life, your financial situation, what's happening at your job, if you have any tips about this. I don't understand how to get ahead, basically. Because there are so many quotes about go for your passion, go for your dream. How do you do that when you don't have enough time? So for instance, I have to go back to work full-time, or part-time at least. And it's not really an option. It's when I get better, I'm going to start looking again. That's a whole nother video, but I have some trouble with finding a job. So when I get that job, a lot of stuff is going to be more difficult, making time for my crafts, making time for my YouTube. I'm going to make sure I do it. I'm going to make sure, because I've worked so hard on this, and I'm thankful that I had the time off of work to be able to dedicate into my channel to have as many subscribers as I do right now, and I think that's going to help me. That's a good platform to be able to remember to come back and to continuously do this, but I don't know how we do stuff that we love for a living and make money off of it unless we have somebody else supporting us, unless we have family supporting us. I know there are so many people that can't even buy groceries tonight. I know there are so many people that don't have a place to sleep, that are living out of their car. Believe it or not, you can look on YouTube, and some people have YouTube channels from living out of their car. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I followed a girl, and I don't even think she has her videos up anymore, but it was very interesting. It was just like a social experiment. She chose to live out of her car, and to do things that way so she could report back on how that lifestyle is. And these are good people. These are hardworking people. These are quality, people that have extremely grateful, good character. People that have given of themselves to help others be stronger. And in the process, they've weakened themselves in doing it. And these are not people that deserve to struggle like this. I don't feel like I should be 30 and still struggling. I don't feel like that. I'm not somebody who sat back their whole life and been given everything. I have worked very hard to get where I am. And I almost pretty much lived out of my car. I remember there was a time with my car that my entire life was in it, and if you looked at it, I wish I still had pictures of it. I remember taking pictures and like hoping the windows were not going to bust out because I had to pack my whole entire life into a Scion XD. What I was doing with a Scion XD is really beyond me. It's one of those situations where I was younger and my granddad was helping me try to finance a car. Y'all, the advice I could give you if you were a teenager or in your early 20s, the stuff I have learned today, I need to do a whole series. A whole new series on my YouTube channel. How to survive your 20s. Things not to do. Things that will not help. But for those of you who don't know, a Scion XD is a small, tiny little gray car and a little bit bigger than a Bug. And not the kind of car you want to have when you have to put your life in it and drive away. I remember having my potted plant in the front of my car, and it was like turning over and dirt was going everywhere and I had bags of stuff shoved gosh, y'all, I could tell y'all some stories. But anyway, so I'm going to end this video here. It's gotten very long. It's 30 minutes, but I want to know your opinions. And I'm not going to judge you for them. I just want to open up the door and see if you have any life tips on how people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s should be, and on, 80s, 90s, 100s, can make it today. How they can make it. Tips you have on not even saving money, but like, by saving money, I don't mean like having money in a savings account. I mean just being able to live a quality life with basic necessities. Any kind of tips that you have, please post them below. I would love people that are struggling, like myself, and I know I use the word struggling, and again, y'all look behind me and y'all are probably like, girl, you don't look like you're struggling. And when I look at where I was, and that was struggling, y'all, to today, I'm not really struggling. But I'm not where I want to be. So some days are very financially hard, and it kind of brings me back to feeling like I'm not doing enough, I'm not working hard enough, and so it's a process. It's a process. Money is something that we can all relate on. All of us need it. Money tears us apart. Money breaks relationships. Money is one of the top things that people fight about in their marriage, and it's so unfortunate. And I want to figure out how to get out of this, and I want to figure out how to help people. I don't even know, I want to know the right way to advise people and give people new ideas and fresh tips, but I can't do it if I don't even know myself exactly what to say. Like, I do know some things that may help, but then other things not so much. So I'm looking forward to hearing y'all's responses. If you've hung out with me for 30 minutes, no, I really appreciate it. I seriously do. I appreciate you putting your comments below. I appreciate you watching this. And even if it's just listening to me and identifying or being there and being supportive, I really do appreciate it. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful night. Thank you so much for all your caring comments, and I will look forward to talking to you soon. Bye!